Hi there! For those of you who don't know me, I'm Stefan, I'm 24 years old, and for basically all of my life I've been living in a small village near Würzburg in Germany. I'm a biologist and I'm currently in the fourth and last semester of my master's studies. So this is a part of the biocenter. My office is somewhere here and my lab here. But I will get to that in a minute. So this winter I luckily got admitted to a PhD program at the University of Arizona in Tucson. And this means that I will fly there in the beginning of August and I will stay there for the next 5 years. And I decided that I wanted to document this not only by taking pictures and, not really having a story and background to that. So that's why I decided to make a vlog out of this. I hope that I can make it a habit to weekly or monthly put out vlogs throughout the 5 years. So that would be really interesting to see how I develop, how my accent develops, and how I feel during my work. I'm in my office now, where I rarely am, because I spend most of my time in my lab anyway. So there are 3 main reasons for why I wanted to vlog. First one is, it's fun. The second one is that, as I said, I didn't want to send home to my friends and families just some random pictures that they don't really know what's going on maybe, and I wanted also to take this as an opportunity to record my journey for my later self, so that I can look back and see, okay, how I felt and how it was and relive that. And third, I see this as a skill to learn in itself, but it's also a great opportunity and a tool sort of to improve my language and my talking skills. And so I think that this spontaneous talking to a camera might help me with that, and also with other things like telling a story and realizing what is interesting for another person and what is uninteresting and is better left out. So my goal is that these videos become interesting and enjoyable to a random person who watches these, and that they're not as cringy and awkward as this one may be. So this is where I usually spend most of my days, and right now today I will start a new series of experiments, or the last period of my experiments, and that means that for the next 1.5 weeks I will again be doing my work here, and I will do very little thinking and writing and all this stuff, and actually do the hands-on science. So the project I'm currently working on for my master's thesis is social learning about plant ant suitability in leaf-cutting ants. How many informed individuals per colony are enough? And I will give you some background and introduce you to the topic, basically by explaining the title in that order. So, beginning with leaf-cutting ants. Leaf-cutting ants live in the tropics and subtropics of the Americas, where they can be very common. As the name suggests, leaf-cutting ants cut leaves, and then they transport them to the nest. But they don't eat the leaves themselves, but feed them to a mutualistic fungus. This fungus is found nowhere else in nature except in these colonies of leaf-cutting ants. The ants care for the fungus and spread it with every new colony. In turn, the ants harvest the fruit bodies of the fungus and get virtually all of the nutrients from it. Leaf-cutting ants have a very pronounced size polymorphism, which means that there are some smaller and some bigger ants in one colony. In no other group of ants there is such a large continuous spectrum of sizes, and in total only about 5% of ant species show size polymorphism at all. The smaller workers mostly stay inside the nest, where they care for the brood and the fungus, and the larger workers dig out new chambers, do waste management and go out foraging. In some species, some of the smaller ones also hitchhike on the larger foragers, presumably to protect them from parasitic flies. you cannot really make that clear cut between which size does what, because that are only likelihoods, and there is some overlap between, for instance, larger workers also caring for the fungus and smaller ones going out to forage. But this is a complex and hot topic, which I will certainly pick up in a later vlog, because I will exactly work on that question of who does what and why in my PhD studies. Another interesting aspect of these ants is that the colonies of some species can reach enormous sizes. These nests of a grass-cutting ant had more than 1,000 to 8,000 chambers and several million workers. The nests reach up to 7 meters in depth, and their foraging tunnels could be as long as 70 meters. But now back to my project. So when these ants bring the leaves or leaf fragments to the nest, they process them on the fungus to very small fragments. And here in the picture you can see those green spots that are small fragments, and also all the black dots, that is all fresh plant material. So what's important for us now is that they forage very generalistically. That means on lots of plants around their nest. So they might also harvest plants that are unsuitable for the fungus due to defense chemicals that are stored in the leaf tissue, so the fungus just doesn't grow on it or it even decays. And in order to avoid that, and that more and more material of this plant species is taken in, the ants can learn to associate the odor of the leaf, and maybe also some other characteristics, with the decaying of the fungus or the bad growth of it. They can do it either from the fungus directly or from the waste, which is mostly dead fungus anyway. So that is the private way of learning the unsuitability of a plant species, but there is also a social way of acquiring that information. As a former PhD student in our lab could show, even naive foragers that were in contact with experienced gardeners and a naive fungus could learn the association and avoided the plant species, but only if the leaf material of that species was present on the fungus. She showed this by transferring experienced or naive foragers and gardeners to the experienced or naive fungus in various different combinations, and I adopted the ant transfer methodological paradigm for my experiments. But these experiments always just looked at the fungus and the gardeners as one unit. That means that all the gardeners were in the same experience state, either all were experienced or all gardeners were inexperienced. Now I want to find out how many ants have to be knowledgeable in order to significantly influence the decisions of the foragers. Or in other words, how efficient is the information transfer from gardeners to foragers? And now I'm gonna show you how I hope to answer that question. It is day 2, which means that I will feed one of the 2 colonies that I set up yesterday with leaves that are unsuitable for the fungus. And therefore I have to go outside on the campus and pick some leaves from a shrub there. And then I will infiltrate them with a fungicide and then feed it to them. And that was day 2. One interesting aspect about leaf-cutting ants I forgot to tell you, and that is that they stridulate. Like crickets are rubbing their wings against each other. These ants move their abdomen or their gaster up and down, and that produces a sort of chirping sound. And they do that whenever they are sort of calling for help. So when they are, for instance, buried under soil, or when they are taken up by a human being, they do that to call others for help so that they can be freed. Or also when they recruit for cutting leaves, then they stridulate and the vibration propagates through the twig, and that attracts other ants for them to help. I hope that you could hear that. This was just the stridulation amplified by that piece of paper. It's crows. just coming out of a concert that was given back there in that building of a friend of mine and his orchestra, and you're gonna see some or hear something from that. Alright, so this is what a week of taking data looked like for me in my master's project, except that it was not that relaxed as it looked, because I will have to hand in the thesis until the end of July, which will be in a little more than a month. So I had to cram all the data taking into a few weeks so that I still have time to analyze the data and write up. I also have some time for preparing for Arizona. By the way, this is my home village. This work is also extremely fun, and I feel lucky and grateful that I can call this actually my job and be paid for in a few months. I cannot really think of any other job that would be more fulfilling. I'm really looking forward to the future and to my PhD, and hope that it will be not more stressful than this work that I'm doing right now. I hope that this vlog, this very first vlog, was already entertaining and enjoyable. And I think that I will be recording still 2 more vlogs until I leave for the US. And yeah, I will show you a bit more about how I write up the stuff, and yeah, saying goodbye to friends, hopefully. Yeah, until then, have a fantastic time.